How are you? My name is James Beattie, and I'm here to do an informational speech on the Special Olympics. Imagine you're an expectant parent. No doubt you're excited about the new life you're about to bring in this world. As days and times get closer, your excitement grows. Everything is ready for the birth, and you've done everything necessary and taken all the precautions to finally get ready for your bundle of joy. The day finally comes and your beautiful baby is born, but there are complications. The baby's okay, but after some days in the hospital, it's determined your baby will need more tests done to test for developmental disabilities. Weeks and months pass, and finally, the doctors give you the news. Your child has developmental issues and will have special needs. While there's nothing wrong with that, you love them with all your heart anyway. You're really scared for the future for them. How will they grow up different from others? How will the world accept them? And how will they learn to play and grow? Unfortunately, there's a reality for many parents in the United States and around the world. In the United States, you may be surprised to learn that 70% of children ages 3 to 17 are formally diagnosed with some type of mental or developmental disability. That number worldwide drops to roughly 1 in 10, with diagnoses ranging from attention deficit disorder to being placed on the autism spectrum to more severe cases of developmental and learning disabilities. These special needs children need more attention to live, grow, and thrive. For most of our history, though, they were confined to live their lives in virtual solitude, socializing only with close family or worse, being confined in institutions. But out of the shadows of World War II came the want to understand those who were developmentally disabled and the first step on the path to what we know as the Special Olympics. The 1950s included several watershed moments for our better understanding of developmental disabilities and, more importantly, adolescents with these disabilities. Through the 1950s, several studies and programs were conducted to see what the results of physical fitness had on those mental and intellectual disabilities. Then in 1958, Dr. James Oliver conducted a study and showed the positive effects physical fitness and training had on the mental well-being and school studies of developmentally disabled children. Along with studies and research from other experts in the field, such as Dr. William Freeberg of Southern Illinois University and Dr. Frank Hayden of the University of Toronto, the understanding of children with disabilities and the positive effects of getting them into sport and physical fitness grew. This caught the eye of someone very influential and a person who was, through personal experience, very invested in the happiness, well-being, and understanding of handicapped people, Eunice Kennedy Shriver. Eunice Kennedy was born in 1921 with the famous political family, the Kennedys. Despite being born to a life of privilege, she would have to deal with tragedy when her sister Rosemary was left mentally disabled after a medical procedure went awry. Rosemary Kennedy, who Eunice was very close with, had suffered mood swings and violent outbursts throughout her life. And in 1941, when Eunice was 20 years old, her sister underwent a lobotomy, which left her mentally and physically disabled. The aftermath of this failed lobotomy forced her sister to be institutionalized for many years and set Eunice on the path to help and understand the mentally handicapped. Eunice would turn her grief over her sister into a positive and would graduate from Stanford in 1943 with a degree in social work. After years of pushing the narrative of gaining a deeper understanding for those with mental incapacities, she was put in charge as head of the Joseph P. Kennedy Foundation, quickly changing the program's focus to be geared towards research on intellectual disabilities and how to care and treat for those with them. It was while in this position she began a program in 1962 as an experiment to host a day camp for intellectually disabled children, aptly named Camp Shriver, with a focus on physical activity and what athletes could do and not what they couldn't do. She would also guide funds of upwards of $10,000 to Chicago's special recreations programs. The early successes of these funds to the Chicago programs led to the city approving the hosting of a special needs track and field event. After being approached to endorse the event, Ms. Kennedy advocated for a multi-sport single-day event based on her knowledge of successful physical fitness programs and the effects they had on the mentally and intellectually disabled, which was readily agreed upon. Soon a date and location were set, and the Special Olympics were finally ready to begin. On July 20th, 1968, the Special Olympics began. History was made as over 2,000 special needs athletes from 26 states and Canada marched into Soldier Field in Chicago to participate in an event, the first of its kind ever. Throughout the day, those who in the past had lived in the shadows, hidden away, and looked down upon by society had their moment in the sun. These athletes in the first Special Olympics competed with the tenacity and ferocity of those society would deem normal. Over 200 events were held, with each one having a gold, a silver, and a bronze awarded, just like the real Olympic Games. For many, this was an opportunity to be seen, to step out of that shadow, and to be applauded, not pitied. From this point forward, those with mental and intellectual disabilities would have an outlet to be seen and no longer stand and be pushed to the back of society. Since that balmy day in July 1968, the Special Olympics has only grown. Just 15 years later, the Special Olympics were being held in over 50 countries, with over 5,000 athletes participating. Then in 1988, a great honor was bestowed on the Special Olympics when the IOC the International Olympic Committee officially recognized and endorsed the Special Olympics, bringing the program under the umbrella of the Olympic Games, an endorsement that follows to this day. Continued growth since then has been norm year after year, in the 90s with celebrity endorsements and national media coverage. Despite being a global powerhouse for good, though, it wasn't until 2005 that President George W. Bush signed the Special Olympics Sports and Empowerment Act, which guaranteed $15 million each year pledged to the Special Olympics. This marked the first time in history that money was allocated specifically by any government through legislation, promoting only more growth. In the following years, the support given by global community and governments pushed that number of athletes to over 3 million, with representation in 180 of 196 countries by 2008, finally becoming a truly global phenomenon. Beyond the numbers and milestones, though, there are real positives the Special Olympics brings. First and foremost, Special Olympics helps those who need it to feel normal and be seen. It's easy to look down on these people or feel sorry for them, and the Special Olympics helps erase the stigmas and stereotypes associated with people with intellectual disabilities. In 2019, health providers through the Special Olympics gave 157,000 free health screenings to athletes around the world. For many, this was the first time they had been seen as a specially trained professional, having a great impact on their health and wellness, especially in the special needs community. Researchers also continued into the effects physical fitness has on people with intellectual disabilities, with the Special Olympics able to give ample participants. Because of this, it has been shown that not only do athletes involved benefit from lower health issues like obesity and heart disease, but it's also been shown that Special Olympic participants demonstrate an increased ability to adapt to stressors specific to people with special needs, better cognitive abilities, and much higher levels of self-esteem and social inclusion, leading to happier lives outside the program. Not only that, but these programs have also shown to have better scholastic outputs than those who don't participate. So in conclusion, we've come a long way in just over half a century of the Special Olympic Games. No longer are those with intellectual disability seen as lesser or someone deserves our pity. They are seen as our equals with feelings, wants, needs that we all have. Through the tireless efforts of people like Eunice Kennedy Shiver, the thousands of volunteers, coaches, and supporters of the Special Olympics, it's not just something to occupy the time of those with intellectual abilities, but has become a global force for change in our perception of those who may be different, while propping up those with disabilities and showing them they are just as valued as everyone else. Thank you.